All right, hi everyone, I'm Audrey Perkins, one of the arts editors at the IDS. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make crepes, a surprisingly easy and authentic French dessert. But first, let me tell you guys what these ingredients are. Very simple, you guys should be able to have these in your kitchens. If not, go to your Union Street Center, go to your McNutt Center Market. They're not hard to find. So first off, basic ingredient, flour. That's what holds everything together. Then we've got our eggs, we have 2, milk, water, melted butter, who doesn't like butter, and then I'm cheating a little bit, but some vanilla makes this taste better. You don't have to add it though. So first, we are going to add our wet ingredients first, just so we don't overbeat our eggs, because if we do, they'll feel like rubber. So let's get our eggs in here. And I wish I could do the one-handed crack, but you know what, I can't. So that's how it's gonna go. All right. So first add that in, break those yolks up, give it a quick whisk, and add your butter. Make sure your butter's not too hot, otherwise you're going to start cooking those eggs prematurely. And who wants scrambled eggs in their crepes? That's just no fun. All right, so once you've got that, add in your flour, because we don't want it to get too liquidy, because then once you add your flour in, you're gonna overbeat. So just slowly add it in and whisk while you go. Reach up, and don't be like me and splatter your flour everywhere. And we're just going to make this eggy paste. That's the base of this recipe. So just mix slowly. You don't want to get any flour lumps. Get some arm muscles. And basically this is going to look a lot like a pasta dough or even a cookie batter even. So just, this is going to get thick. Don't stress out. It'll get thin again for your crepes. All right, so this is going to get quite messy and thick, but that is perfectly okay. Now that everything's incorporated, it will look almost like a ball, and you're going to add in your water slowly until it kind of eases up. So awkward sound, but just give it a shake to loosen it up. And you'll find that this will loosen up into a relatively thin batter once you've worked all of your liquids in. We've got all of our water in. It's looking a lot like pancake batter. You're going to want to beat all those flour lumps pretty well. Now let's add our milk. This is 3/4 a cup. Just add that in slowly. Try to avoid making a mess. And you'll find that this comes together pretty well. All right, here we go. This is what it looks like. Very thin, very liquidy. And you know what? That's perfect, because the more liquidy it is, it's easier to pour around the pan. You don't want to get a thick pancake, you want a thin crepe. All right, ready to cook. All right, guys, so now we're going to start cooking. So first, turn it on high, just briefly so we can get that heat really going. We'll reduce it down once we start cooking. And we want to use a little oil, just olive's good, but if you have butter, it'll make it taste better, but let's be a little bit healthier. You don't need much. I'd say maybe half a teaspoon worth. And just swivel it around, give it a good rotate. You can see what I'm doing. If you have a paper towel, you can just go in there with that and make it go, but honestly, there's quite a bit of butter in this batter, so it should even itself out naturally. And so we're just going to let our pan heat up. It'll take a few minutes. And you can test this out by taking a skewer. This is the best cook's tool for this, really, because it's the only thing that really lets you get underneath the crepe without tearing or breaking it. Just take a dip of the batter and stick it in the pan and see if it does anything. If it doesn't, let it hang out a little bit. And now we wait. I forgot. So here's the splash of vanilla that I mentioned. You don't need much, just a little drizzle. And while we're at it, let's give this another test, shall we? I'd say it's ready. All right, so you don't need much. I'd say maybe a little bit less than 1/4 of a cup, or maybe even a 1/2 cup. It really depends on the size of your pan. You can go for any size you want. So the key to this is looking to see how well this cooks. Once it starts to cook, it'll solidify and it won't move. It won't budge. So just wait till it reaches that point where it just doesn't move anymore. And that's how you know you've reached that ideal thickness and cooking level. See, it'll look like that. You want it to be quite thin so that whatever you fill it with really is that main feature. Otherwise it's just a pile of dough, and that's just not fun now, is it? So taking your skewer, really poke at those edges and just try to ease this crepe off of the pan. It'll take a bit, and you'll notice that steam will be coming off the pan because that's just whatever liquid that was in the batter is going to start seeping out. That is perfectly fine. You want it to do that. All right, now, so as you can see, it's solidified. It's not really liquidy anymore. It looks quite solid. You're going to really want to ease that off the pan, and you can see it's shaking as I move, right? Right, that's your sign. So take it and practice makes perfect. Give it a shake. You'll notice that it moves, right? And this takes quite a bit of practice. So let's see if I get it. And I didn't, which is why we have more than one round. So ease it open. It'll be hot. And we'll scrap this one. But shaking is key. If you don't get it perfect, you roll it up, you cover it in chocolate, and then you don't care anymore. Right? So try it again. Again, practice makes perfect. All right, guys, so now that we've got our crepes made, the average batch makes around 5-6, depending on how big your pan is. Let's get to actually assembling them. So there are a variety of ways you could do this. Traditionally, there's butter sugar, there's Nutella, which I'm sure we're all quite familiar with. I've got chestnut jelly, which is something that I picked up when I was abroad, and I love it. And then we'll top with honey and cinnamon, but you know, you could go salty with this as well if you have pesto, sun-dried tomato mayo, maybe not mayo, but sun-dried tomato, even cheese, goat cheese, cream cheese, whatever you want. But first, we're just going to take a crepe, be delicate. These are quite thin. And I'm going to put it the brown side out just because that's prettier. So traditionally, you don't use actually all that much of your filling, but you just do whatever you want. So I've got about a teaspoon of this jelly, and you know, orange marmalade would be quite good as well, apricot. Spread it thin, and generally I like going in the triangle shape, but if you wanted, you could just go down a long strip and roll it up, kind of like a burrito. But I'm gonna go this way. Fold in half, then in quarter, and lay it on your serving plate. And then we'll just go another round. Yeah, I remember when my host mom did it, nothing tastes better than French butter, sugar, and it melting. Because I promise you, nothing tastes better than melted butter. But maybe that's just the glutton in me. But again, just go thin. And if anyone's never tried chestnut butter, I know that it's not something that's very common in the United States. I would compare it to, it's quite sweet. It's not like peanut butter. It's not an actual butter. It's a jelly for sure. But if anyone's ever had roasted chestnuts at Christmas, it tastes exactly like that, but pulverized with sugar. And I promise you there's nothing wrong with that. But it's quite delicious. I got this one with some vanilla bean inside, and it was quite cheap. But you know what? Just at the top of my head, it would be delicious with goat cheese, apricot jelly, and slivered almonds that have been toasted. But that's just my first instinct. Do whatever you guys want. I'm sure for late night cravings, a snack pack of Nutella would do just fine inside, but it's your call. Fold it up again. And just go down a line. It's generally really pretty just to make those layers. All right, here's another one. Yeah, I bought this jelly, and I swear I am the biggest glutton you'll ever meet, because no one takes like 10 metro stops just to carry a thing of jelly home. And I did, and it's worth it, because guess what? I'm using it right now. But here you go, just keep folding. We're almost there, and I'd say this plate's done, but we only have one left, so I'll just complete this, and you guys can pretend to eat it at home. So here you go, this is for you. So I'll put this back on this plate. Now, when it comes to, here, I'll put this back here. When it comes to the actual presentation of this, you could basically do whatever you want, but what would be really pretty in other cases, I don't have any powdered sugar on me right now, but sprinkle some of that on, maybe drizzle some melted chocolate or chocolate syrup, but I'm doing honey and cinnamon just because those are my two favorite things, but just give it a drizzle. Nothing is better than gooey honey in my book. Just for fun, a sprinkle cinnamon. Let's eat.